Welcome to DevHub's offices here in downtown Seattle. I am joined by our senior lead developer.
Who knows what the title
What is your title right now?
Lead web dev, I think.
Right. All the pretty websites you see for all the biggest brands done by this guy right here, basically.
I do some of them.
Right. Eric Willis. Today we're going to be talking about everything from AI to probably we will touch on remote. It's always good to check in to find out what's going on with remote work. So since the last time we did a video, which I'll link below, but maybe we will, maybe we won't, was talking about, I think we talked about WordPress multi-site, WP Engine and WordPress, that whole legal issue. But then we talked about AI. So again, let's start there. Two lenses though. One lens about how we are doing stuff with AI, and what are you thinking about, the future of all that. But then also today, where we're potentially at based on your read as whether it's a collective body of humans, a society, an industry. Go. Wherever you want to start.
Well, I mean, whatever. The WordPress stuff's, I think, at least out of the mainstream right now, and I haven't really followed it or care, honestly. I think it's still like what I said then of like, it just makes everyone think like, do you really want to build on WordPress?
Right.
Still really? Yes or no? I don't know. It's whatever. Right. But, AI, I do find very interesting right now just because, I read something the other day is like, it is doubling in its power every year right now. And I think that is like obvious, right? If you think about where GPT, like the first one came out versus where we are now with all the CLIs that are basically writing entire programs for people, where it goes from, it's just going to get better and better, as we build the agents more.
But how are you using it today in your work, and then maybe even outside of work? But let's start with work. Like, how are you using any of the...
I mean, for me personally, I use it for a lot of the JavaScript that I write.
Right.
I just find it easier to build the DOM and then describe what I want it to do, have the AI do all of that stuff, and then I validate it.
And then when we say AI, what are we using?
Gemini or Cursor.
Got it.
There's all sorts of, basically some sort of, whatever your code editor has live code editing for you. It can write in your file that you're working on. It has context of the other files that you're working on. And it speeds up your process, especially, when you're working on big projects and you're like, what was that thing I worked on a month ago? And like, how did it work? How does it interact with this? Like bringing all that stuff together, like I would say pretty seamless in a lot of sense. There's just a lot of power now in one, knowing how to be a project manager, but also knowing what the code is doing and also being a good QA tester, right? Because a lot of what you're doing now is describing what you want, kind of validating the code, but then testing it and making sure that it's doing what it says. Yeah. Which I mean are all good, at least especially in what we do. Really nice. And then obviously like note taking and just like general, I think I mentioned it in our first like AI conversation, but like the thing that'll be really powerful for AI is when it's like an actual, like, I don't want to say secretary, you know what I mean? But like someone, like just a personal assistant, right?
I mean, I honestly think some version of the Holy Grail, and you sort of touch on that, was like project management, right? Like today we use Asana. Like, is there not a day that happens where essentially Asana becomes like alive and it becomes more of a project manager, where we can actually feed any project we've ever had into our own knowledge base that we have today of projects, brands that we've launched. but then that gets tasked out. You're approving, oh, these are said tasks, these are correct, but then it's actually managing the timeline with the customer as well as with the developers, designers, QA, support people on our end, where it's like you can't even BS it. It's like you said you're gonna get this task done on this day, you didn't. That's one demerit, and then it goes like, and like
Now we're
eventually,
talking punishment
you know,
over
I'm
our
just saying.
AI
But do you
overlords
not think
and the
it goes
punishment.
that way?
Uh,
Because you know what's scary?
no, because I just,
That's my whole thing. Like I like honestly, like when I saw some of this stuff, I was like, oh my god, the humanity. I mean, the fact that you came into the office today to me is like that's the part I miss.
sure.
Like I still miss that. And then it's like again, like the other day we popped on a meeting. There was like 400 AI note takers popped on. There was more AI note takers than people, you
That's funny.
know. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And it's like I don't know. It's like everyone's like, okay, well, there's like 4 randos in this room right now. Like I just think there's like something happening that's slowly eating away at the humanity of like running business, running a project with like a little bit of heart where it's going to become more structured. Either you're delivering or you're not delivering. And then it's like what happens then?
Obviously, I mean, if all goes best case scenario according to plan, you're gonna need like at least UBI, like some sort of universal basic income. Like it just will have to be the
See, like you
scenario,
know it's funny.
right?
I've never gone down that route. I don't know anything about
Like
UBI.
if the idea is that like these things are gonna replace like because every all that you see the headlines every day of like these jobs are gonna get there's not gonna be this job, X job in 1 year, whatever. To some extent they're not wrong, and that it will replace if you needed 10 people, you probably only need 5 now because it will empower the people who know what they're doing to do it better and more efficiently, right?
I mean,
And it'll even make people who don't, to level up as well because it really does level the playing field and what people's knowledge are, because if everyone can technically have the knowledge they need and someone to hold their hand while doing it, isn't technically everyone the same at
I
that
mean,
point?
I don't know. So like I like so if you're joining the first time, I'm the co-founder CEO of DevHub. We have another co-founder. I always say he's the smart one. His name is Daniel Rust.
He's the
So
brains.
when I say Daniel, basically like every time I'm like, Daniel, like how does this all work out? He's like, no, everyone just gets way more efficient and you can do a lot more with less people.
Yeah.
Right. But not for us being already small-ish. We're like in the sweet spot to like actually build alongside of some of the AI stuff and not be already a 5,000, 1,000, whatever person company that's like, oh, wow, we have to get rid of, or we could get rid of a bunch of people. Like everyone is so important at the stage of the company that we're in right now
Yeah.
that you're just leveling those people up with the advancement of what, again, Daniel and potentially team, but Daniel is developing on the AI front related to DevHub.
Well, if there's, I love,
Like, what was the thing he said about migrating? He said he's going to cut everyone's time by like 75%.
well, yeah, but that's more of a tool. It's not an AI tool.
Really?
But
Okay, got
I
it.
think there's, with AI is going, well, you want to hear like my hot take on it
Hell yeah, dude. Everyone
is,
wants to hear your hot take.
is that when it comes to UX and usability, all you're going to have is a chat window. Like, there will be nothing you ever interact with in the future that isn't strictly just a chat window to the AI. Because, like, what do you need to click around on a page for when it's the AI doing it? You know what I mean? If you really think about what AI does, is it consolidates every UX that has ever been built into a single chat, and then you just say it and it goes and does it. That to me is the future that no one is really thinking about,
I I
is that like it will replace everything.
I 100% agree. And I always thought DevHub, especially in the last 3 years, before even the introduction of, again, my first understanding was ChatGPT in November 2022. But prior to that, and you can look at some of the stuff I was posting, I always believed DevHub was like this data experience layer, which was like any experience that needs to be generated. Not even, I was thinking visually, but now I feel like it's actually more text. But if someone wanted to see it visually, right? Let's say like dog groomer, whatever. It's like, well, show me their facilities. It's like, here it all is, but again, it's all still presented or prompted via that chat window.
Exactly.
It's not like you're visiting necessarily the website,
Well, no,
but
it could
again,
pull the website up in the prompt, but
right.
your initial entry point into anything, any app that isn't just like a game, or that is not like anything that is information driven, like you are trying to go and get
How far away?
information or to trigger some sort of at least digital action currently, will be through some sort of just chat window, and then it'll feed the data, like it does now. I mean, if you do anything, it'll bring back the pages, it'll
Right.
show you what links it's
Here's
going
the
to.
footnote. Here's the
Yeah,
thing.
all that stuff.
I mean,
So
even like when I played with some of the, what was it called? One of the, whatever Chat GPT's little agentic ish thing was, it'll go out on the web and actually do the task for you.
sure.
Right? Like it was actually, you're watching it pull up the website and click around and like highlight certain things on the website and then go try to book an appointment or whatever. But it was still, I hate to say, like a glorified, what was a screen share program back in the day with like Microsoft that like sucked when like you wanted someone to hand you the keys to a desktop.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, whatever that, if that's
well,
how,
I know what you're talking about.
right, whatever that was called, that's what it still felt like. It was still kind of like weird, clunky. It did do the task, but you can see or at least feel what it was actually trying to search for and interact with. And then if the website didn't have it, it kind of like basically moved on to the next website. So
Sure.
it's still like these next 2 years, I would say the website's still probably important, but I think it moves pretty quickly here in the next
Well, this is where, like, in
three
the
plus,
end,
2 plus.
you the website will always be important, even in the UI age, because it's still like your visual representation of your business in a lot of ways, and then the core of all your content and data. Again, I think, if we want to talk like Goss in the AI industry right now, how about Cloudflare doing the AI scraping tax?
No,
Did you see that?
no.
I haven't dug into it much. Obviously, it's just we live in the headline society where you don't actually read
Right, right.
anything. But in general, like charging scraping, because the deal of the internet back in the day with Google was like, hey, you can scrape our sites and we'll even make our sites as scrapable as possible for you. But the deal is, the better we do this, the more traffic you will send us because you will rank us higher in your list, which more people will click on and send you here.
Right.
That's no longer the case in this new UI system. So that trade-off is no longer there. Like, you're not getting that benefit. If, I don't know how often you search things, at least now with AI, but like it, in a lot of ways, that the at least with Google, the AI chat is giving you the answer you're looking for in a lot of sense. And you don't have to, unless you want to validate what it's telling you, you would click those links and go to those sites. But before, at least in the old way, it just presented a link and then the meta title. Hopefully they're describing what you were looking for, therefore you click on it, right? And now it takes away that information out of that click and into their UI. And again, from a user perspective, that's great because I'm just trying to get past clicks, right? To get to the information to like speed up my life. Every second counts. The bear, right? Every second counts. Even in like just regular life, not just business life. Uh,
I'm trying to be better about being in the moment, but that's a whole nother topic.
but I think that's where, long story short, like how Cloudflare saying like, hey, if you're AI scraping, like you need to pay them for it then if you're going to use their data. Now, you pay one time and then you save it and then it's whatever. You know what I mean? So, uh, yeah, what the future will actually be, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Again, with you'll still always need websites, but how people get to it, and then the more important thing is how you get attributed to your unique content,
Right.
right? Because that's all that really matters in the end, is that you are again, I always think back to like middle school book report. Like, what the hell did we have to do all the time? You had to do your citations list, and like prove like where you got your
Yeah.
stuff. Like, are AI bots like doing that in a meaningful way, you know? And then two, like, what's the trade-off? If you're not sending me to my site to get me leads for whatever, you know, what good is it? I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. You will always need it, but like, is Google and that search like what you should be focusing on then? Right? How do you, because again, what is your goal in the end? If it's just information, is it get leads? What is your purpose for the site? Most of the time it's to get leads, push business, right? Franchise side. Uh, what's that trade-off? Like, how do you get noticed in that AI world for that kind of stuff? Is it simply just like making sure that you're optimized for someone being able to book through AI or things like that, or just get the information and make sure it's attributed to you? I don't know. That's weird.
I mean, my mind goes a million different
I
ways.
know, I
Duh.
know.
It's I don't, I know what I'm about to say doesn't maybe tie into what you say, but I don't know, maybe it does. Like just now I tried to book a rental car using the Alaska app. It was like they were just loading their actual corporate website
Yeah.
into the iPhone. It was just ridiculous. And then you can't hit search or filter. So it was just like scrolling through cars. It like made no sense. Meanwhile, I did go to the sixth website and it was actually very intuitive and it worked. But I mean, the point is like, I don't know. I always go back to like humans just move slow, right? Like I think some of the even the traffic that we see across the DevHub network, it's still sub 2% is coming from any of like ChatGPT,
Right.
those other
Well, why would
language
you click
models.
off? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most of the time, at least with that, I mean, in the end, you're using it for research. How do you capture the market of people searching for a service? Right. And
I
then
don't
what
think
does that look like in the AI world? Right. Because that's, again, websites in general are just a portal to a service or product, It's a way
so.
for that stuff, but how do you
So
get
my
from the user searching to that?
my sort of take is that like in these last 6 months, but really last 3 months, anyone who's been using, and I'm just gonna keep saying Chat GPT, but
Sure.
I'm sure it may apply to the other
Just
models
call it
too.
chat.
Chat, I actually
We
to
love chat.
sort of what I'm about to say is like I know a bunch of people who've named their chats, right?
Hmm.
They've named them a name. Donnie,
Streamer culture is real. I mean, that's
Cove.
like
Somebody
modern.
named theirs Cove because that's what came up as like one of the voices. People are talking to it. And I think something happened in these last 3 months, not January, February, March, but April, May, June, where I think people were like, screw it. I trust this thing so much. I'm going to give it as much information about me as
Sure.
possible. So like it started like loosely with like I've been talking to you for a while now. Like tell me something dark about myself, right? Or tell me something that I'm good at that I might not notice. And you start asking those questions, and like you might like agree, disagree, whatever. But then you're like, and then you play with it a little bit more. But then you're like, I want this thing to be insanely accurate, or basically be my digital representation of me, how I would think, my tone. And I think more people in these last 3 months have given up any version of what happens with their data, whether that's blood work, whether that's stocks, whether that's how to
Sure.
budget their money or their finances, what schools their kids should go to. Put it all into these. And at what point does that turn into I fully trust this thing 98% so that if I do have a roof leak or a plumbing issue, or I want to take my dog groom to a dog groomer, or I want to order food on a random Saturday at 2 p.m. where I'm like chat or Donnie or whatever I want to call it, be like, hey, you make the decision for me. Or where should I take Ashley on a date tonight? Well, you're in Seattle and you haven't been to this place in a long time. Let me get, like, and it's you actually just trust it versus like before, which was again like on Google, if you're doing that research or something else, you're given all these options. Like I want the optionality taken out of it because this thing thinks it knows me. I think it knows me. I'm just going to trust that it says for me to go here. Now, whether I have a bad experience or not at the place I end up going to, that's maybe like a 2%, but it's like I don't even want to make that decision. If it says take her there, all right, or buy this thing, it already knows a bunch of other things I already have, what it, and I think it's like that is what's happened in the last 3 months that will contribute to these next 2 quarters being like, I don't know, this wild evolution of like a personalization of what the web, future web, a glimpse into that, what that future web looks like, right? So even when it comes to UX, UI with websites and whatnot, again, I think we've talked about this forever related to at least websites, which is like, it knows Eric Willis, where Willis lives. Do you still have the dog and the cat?
Yeah.
Right. Knows you have the dog and the cat, knows how old they are. So if you need, like, you're going out of town, it's like, hey, do you want me to book at this place that's like a half mile from your place? Da, 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 da. Instead of you even having to search where to drop your dog off for boarding. And I think it's like, and you go to their website and it looks like it was built for you.
I
And
think,
so
I think,
I think that's less than a year away.
if I had to strategize around this personally, I would focus on, one thing I notice with AI when I like ask it for stuff is it'll usually give you more than one thing, right? It never gives you just one answer. It's going to give you whatever.
Right.
And so, for instance, in the service industry or franchise industry, to me, there's a bunch of different things you can do, right? You can focus on reviews. You can focus on speed of service or availability of service. You could focus on
Cost.
cost. You could focus on amount of services provided, being more of a tool of all trades, right? And try and focus. Because I imagine when you ask AI, like, hey, I need to find someone to remodel my bathroom, right? And they're like, well, here's a local company, here's a bigger regional company that's more expensive, here's an up and coming, like, again, I imagine if you focus at least a lot of your branding and how you really position yourself, you could get picked up in those different kind of sub suggestion categories, right? Low cost, 24-hour availability, drive through, whatever. What if you have a restaurant and but they want a drive through and you don't have a drive through, like you're not going to show up then in that request for like whatever they're asking for, right?
So let me ask you, how personal have you gotten with your chats?
Oh, well, I guess this was another thing I wanted to say off of what you were just saying of like the one thing I'm truly trying to focus on is like it's not a person, it is not anything other than a tool. Like you really have to depersonalize. Like again, obviously all the weird stuff. The guy who has like the AI girlfriend and a real wife and kid is like it's just a hard thing to like. If that is our future, we're
That is
totally fucked. We're
100%.
totally fucked.
Look,
Like if
I
that
would,
is the actual future,
I will go on the
like
record 100,000%.
I would rather
The fact that
Terminator like
100,
nuke everything
I'm t-
than that be the scenario.
if I think those
We're all have like
digital
AI
boyfriend
girlfriends. Hell
girlfriends,
no,
yeah,
bro.
100%.
All that is a personal all if you are looking for a digital boyfriend or girlfriend, all you're really looking for is digital therapy. Because you're
Yeah,
just looking for someone to listen
right.
and give positive feedback. That's not a relationship though. Like or
Look, I'm telling
there's a
you,
lot more threads that bind people together. The one thing we cannot let AI do is pull us out of reality,
well, I
right?
think I can.
We can only let it extend our to me, the utopia that I want from AI is to just make all of our lives fucking easier. Like, hey, I want to go to Disneyland for Christmas. Can you just go set all that up for me and then just give me a bunch of hotel and flight options with different prices and times and be like, which one do you want me to book? That one. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, I I wanted to, the one thing I've been doing with it personally is, hey, give me recipes for this week and uh, give me a grocery list for that. And it did it. I made it. My family ate all the meals I made last week doing that. The hell do I need these cooking apps for? Again, I've just replaced every cooking app ever made with just a simple AI agent
Right.
that refer to me as refers to me as chef. All right. It has to respond in the prompt. It has to say yes, chef, to me. You know, that's the first in the
That's funny.
the file,
That's
right?
funny. But again,
And how many things can a personal trainer? You know what I mean?
100%.
Think of
Dietitian, yeah.
all those things I would say that elites have, right? That now everyone can kind of have that, but you got to think of it. It's a tool. It's not a person. You know what I mean? It's just a tool that
I
you
think
have
people are going
access
to
to.
interpret it as a
Of course,
person,
people
and
will, but
and
those people are cooked and they really
no,
should
I honestly,
refocus.
again, my big fear is that the again, it's just stripping the humanity away. Like, I think again, and I blame it all. I swear to God, and this is just my own hot take, not the opinion of DevHub, is I blame a lot of it on the whole work from home. I think work from home
Sure, I get
in
it.
aggregate isolates people into their own world. Now, my only, I guess, respite or my own like peace with it is that as long as everyone's happy in their lives and having the connection, physical connection to a work environment, to colleagues, to teams, and you're still getting that in a virtual 2D screen, then who am I to be like, say anything about it? But I truly believe for a majority of people, they are forgetting some version of humanity by not interacting with anyone outside of their circle physically in the physical world. Digitally, it becomes it's not personal enough for it to like actually matter. And again, to me the shitty part is that in business, like, unfortunately, I think even capitalism is very much like a black and white, like ones and zeros. There is no like, well, maybe. And the maybe is what was the humanity part is getting stripped out. It's either doing or not doing. That's it. 3 warnings, 10 warnings, out. And then all you're doing is just deactivating a 2D screen. Your colleague doesn't have to walk back into the office and be like, I got to get all my stuff. I got, let go today. It's like, sorry, we're never going to see them again. Click. And you're just, like, and it's like, I don't know. That's like, to me, the
The
sad.
depersonalization of it all. Sure.
100%.
I mean, you know,
100%.
it's complicated, right? So obviously I'm in the office today. I came into the office, I told you I was coming in
Right.
like unprompted, not asked. I did it. The one thing I love about coming into the office when I do is that it's like a vacation. It's a treat that I have to see people, see you, be in this great. I love this office. We have a great view. I love being in Seattle. We were talking about it before this started. Of there's no better place in the summer than Seattle.
That's
And
true.
if you don't believe me,
No.
just
Be here.
come.
Be here for at least the next 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months between
No,
between
I would say
July and August.
till the end of September.
You really want to come early though, because depending on how hot the summer is, it can just be like everything is actually cooked. You think it rains? Not these, not these
Yeah, but
months.
it's like again, like, yeah. I mean,
But
it's not
no,
Arizona heat.
Seattle's the best. And I love getting out and I love that. But I was having the conversation with my wife about, hey, I'm going into the office.
Right.
Was like, I would never want it to be, hey, you need to come in X amount of days this week or whatever. Because the one beauty of work from home is that it does let you connect to your out of work life in more ways, right? If you need to do a doctor's appointment, you don't have to do a bunch of weird planning and
Right.
take the day off.
Yeah.
Like again, since you're allowing people to work from home, that means that they can fit their work into their day any way that they need to deliver and
100%.
deliver on their work and deliver in their life fulfilling. Is that disconnecting in a lot of ways? Sure. But as someone who has kept up relationships with people over just Discord and video games for over a decade, and I don't even see their face on daily calls that I have with them, and I still think of them as my brothers. You know what I mean? Like there is some level of like in the growing up in the internet age, like you can still have that personal connection even online. And it can be real, but it is different. And yes, it can be more isolating. But what I think is the more important thing of like the that trade-off, the work from home and having the balance of work and home life, no travel, etc., is that is the Microsoft thing that they came out with when I was on vacation of the always on or 24-hour work cycle, right? Because
There's no doubt we're more efficient from
we're
work
more
from home.
efficient,
Duh. I
but
100%.
you are working all day, every day, and
I
to some extent, or and even if you're not told to do it, you still do it. You still think about it.
yeah.
It's really
No,
hard to turn
you
it
live
off.
with it on all the time. Like I have the same setup everywhere I am.
Yeah.
Every I literally just take that laptop, I plug it into the other monitor at a different location. It's the same setup every single where. I mean, and it's on all the time. On all the time. You're not ignoring it. I only shut it off at night just because where I live is all very small, and so the light of it is annoying. But yeah, again, look, I like I said, I default to as long as you're happy. Sometimes I feel like
It's all relative.
working from home is like I've almost built some version of my own little prison.
No, 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 no.
You know what I
I
mean?
think
And
that's
so
such a
like,
good way
and
to
I'm
think
just
about it
like,
sometimes. I mean,
holy, oh my god, like I'm like always connected. I'm like I'm going to the yard. Like it's like
but
I
if you,
just
what's the alternative? The prison that you've created, molded for yourself to feel comfortable,
right,
or the cubicle that you come to
right,
that you also have to waste 3 hours of traffic because traffic only gets worse over time.
yeah.
So it's like,
Again, and for
that's where like you can never justify if you can do your work on a computer, there is no justification for making that person drive to a place to do that work. Because one, that only doesn't only make their job harder and more stressful, but it takes the resource of roads away from the people who need it. You know what I mean? Because that creates more traffic for other people that then they have to fucking deal with. And
yeah.
like that, no one ever considers those trade-offs. And it's like, I think if we did a better job of like people who can work from home can, and the people who can't drive, but we make the roads better for, again, there's the, how do you make it so every commute never takes more than 15 minutes or 30 minutes? I get, you know what I mean? Within reason of your home to location, but
Well, that's what I think. Like, and again,
there's so many
we should,
facets of it
yeah.
all.
Honestly, I think like all these buildings. I know they keep doing condo conversions. That's my last hot take.
That
Instead
was
of
good. I
doing
like this.
condo conversions of like office buildings, right, which is like a big thing right now, I guess. I would make them more like almost like livable spaces, but you don't really live in them. So like all the things that you would ever want for gaming, whatnot, that you just don't want in your house because you do want that much separation, but within very, 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 very close proximity to where you live. So I would say no more than a 5 minute walk or 5 minute drive to your true third space, which has all your things that you would want to do out, but you just don't want to have it in your office. And so,
I don't know. The third space is important. I do struggle with that personally because as a gamer, most of my log off from work is just to log off into my game.
yeah.
You know what I
What are
mean?
you playing right now?
Last Epoch,
I don't know.
Path of Exile. I'm like addicted to ARPGs, but those are
Are you
popular
still
right now.
good?
I don't know. No, that's the beauty of these games is it's not multiplayer. It's not meant to be like
Uh,
a skill based thing per se. Because I'm getting old. Or I also it's more of a I want to avoid the gamer rage
yeah.
more than anything. Uh, and if there's one constant in any multiplayer game, it's like everyone rages. Period. There's no because you either take it serious or you don't. And if you
Yeah.
take something serious, you're gonna get angry about
So let's, if we meet back up in 3 months again to, let's say, do this
Sure.
in this setting, what's the one thing we want to talk about in 3 months to see if our prediction came true?
In regard, what are we
Any
predicting?
predicting, any prediction, what things that we've covered? Obviously, you're talking about AI, websites, whatever. Like, what's our one prediction? Like, we'll end on your prediction, we'll end on my prediction, and then the next time we do it, we'll like look back and see,
Sure.
like, did it happen in those 3 months?
Let's see. What's my prediction? All right, you go first.
I I actually think that right now I think it's 2%. Maybe we can look it up as we edit this video, but 2% of traffic, whatnot, comes from these language models, right?
Okay.
I think it'll be all of a sudden jump up to 15% by end of November as people start thinking about holidays and they've introduced their grandparents and aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone into these models over the last year. You'll see that wave hit in like November of like traffic flowing to websites from these um, large language models. It'll go from what it is today. It'll double from what it is today.
All right. So
We're
in three
starting the
months,
next episode with that.
I want my prediction is that Apple will still not have released their model yet. You know, I do find that funny because, like, you know, at least they're like, oh, it's got to be perfect or whatever. And it's like, well, no one else's is perfect. And they're still, you know what I mean?
Right,
It's, first of all, no code or product is ever perfect,
right,
especially in the digital world.
yeah,
It's not meant to be perfect because you can always fix it later.
right.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I find it
That's a good
very
one.
I find it very strange that Apple has no, I would say, consumer AI tech, right? Whether that's some sort of coding assistant or, you know, it baffles my mind that Apple probably has like a 98 or like 90% of every developer's computer sales, but they have not released any AI coding agent for to support them in any way. I just find that odd. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, again,
Well,
I
maybe
feel like
those.
Apple has missed the mark for a really, really long time. Uh Again, they've ridden high on, oh hey, the smartphone, like duh, that was gonna work and
Right.
make you $1 billion, but what idea after that is gonna do it? You
I mean,
know,
I was hoping for.
AirPods are kind of
I
close,
was, yeah.
but
You always said that. You said the AirPod was the second best invention after the iPhone.
yeah, but everything else has just been like, how do we, the stupid bar on my laptop, you know, and
Yeah.
I was like, bro, what?
All right, cool. So we'll go to the Apple. We'll start the next episode with Apple and this, and then the language models being double what they are today in terms of referring traffic to websites. All right,
Well, you
with
said 15%.
oh, you
That
forget.
was like a lot more
That's all
than,
right. I'll still say
it's a way,
15.
because you
Leave
said
15.
2%.
I think it's like 2% right now, or less than two
Bro, I mean,
percent.
shit, let's, you meant to say 5%, right?
Yeah, that's all right. Anyway, it will definitely double, if not 100x. Let's just say, or whatever that would be. All right, cool. That was a candid conversation with Eric Willis, Mark Michael, and we'll see you on the next one.